Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'll be showing you how to make this cute little Easter or spring chick. It's all fluffy and very cute, and I will show you exactly how I did it in this video. So here I'm showing you our little chick decorating our Easter bookshelves, but I would like to know, what would you do with your chick? Please let me know in the comments below. Last thing before we start, please don't forget to subscribe and like this video. That would help me tremendously. And now let's move on to the material that we're going to need to make this chick. So for my chick, I choose a faux fur yarn. This is Lion's brand Feels Like Bliss in the color Buttercup. So it's very cute and very soft yarn. And for that, I will be using a 3.5mm hook. You'll also need a little bit of orange yarn. This is just light yarn, acrylic light yarn. And when I'm using that yarn, I'll be going down to a 3mm hook. You also need some scissors, stitch markers, a needle, and some 12mm safety eyes. Okay, so we're all ready to crochet. So for our first round, we'll grab our yarn and do a magic ring. And into our magic ring, we're going to do 6 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I'm going to pull my tail to close the hole. And we move on to round 2. For round 2, we're going to do a series of increases. We're going to do 2 single crochets per stitch. So this is my first single crochet. I'm going back in the same stitch to do an increase, so a second single crochet. Next stitch, 2 single crochet again, 1 and 2. As you can see, I like to crochet over my tail to make it nice and secure. Third stitch, again 1 and 2. Sometimes this yarn can be a little tricky and slippery. And fourth stitch, again 1 and 2. Fifth stitch, again 2 single crochet in this stitch. And finish our sixth stitch with again 2 single crochet. So we have a total of 12 stitches at the end of this round. For round 3, we're going to do a pattern of 1 single crochet followed by 1 increase. As you can see, this yarn is a little bit slippery, but this yarn is easier to work with than some other faux fur yarn that I've used in the past. So this is my first single crochet. In my second stitch, I will be doing an increase. So 1, 2, and repeat that around. So 1 single crochet in the next stitch, increase in the next, 1 and 2, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and increase in the next, try again, increase, 1 and 2. Yeah, stitch marker tends to want to slip as well in this with this yarn. So that was a single crochet in the next, an increase in the next stitch, 1 and 2, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, followed by an increase, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, one more time, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and an increase in the next, 1 and 2. And at the end of round 3, we will have 18 stitches. For round 4, we're going to do 2 single crochets followed by an increase. So 1 single crochet in the first stitch, and our next stitch, another single crochet. In our third stitch, we'll be doing an increase. So 1 single crochet, going back in the same stitch for increase. Repeat that. So 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, followed by an increase, 1 and 2 in the same stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, followed by an increase in the next, 1 and 2. So repeat that pattern around, 2 single crochets followed by an increase, so that at the end of this round you will have a stitch count of 24. For round 5, we'll now be doing 3 single crochets followed by an increase. So 1 single crochet in the first stitch, placing my stitch marker to keep track. Second stitch, another single crochet. Third stitch, another single crochet for 3. And our fourth stitch will be doing an increase. So 1 single crochet, going back in the same stitch for another single crochet. Again, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch for 3, followed by an increase, 1 and 2 single crochet in the same stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and an increase in the next, 1 and 2. So keeping that pattern of 3 single crochets followed by an increase. At the end of this round, our stitch count will now be at 30. For round 6, we'll now be doing a pattern of 4 single crochets followed by an increase. It's my first single crochet in the first stitch. In the second stitch, another single crochet. In the third stitch, another single crochet. In the fourth stitch, another single crochet. And in the fifth stitch, an increase. 1 single crochet, going back in the same stitch for a second single crochet. Again, so 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch. I'm trying to find my stitch here, I'm not quite sure. And sometimes it's not easy to see with the fur, so make sure you feel under the fur. So that was 4 single crochets, 1, and then an increase, 1, 2. Just once again, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch for 4, followed by an increase. So 1 and 2. Just one more time. 1 single crochet in the next stitch for 1, 1 single crochet in the next stitch for 2, 1 single crochet in the next stitch for 3, 1 single crochet in the next stitch for 4, and in our next stitch our increase. So 1 and 2. We do that 2 more times, 4 single crochets followed by an increase, and at the end of round 5, at the end of round 6, excuse me, our stitch count will be at 36 stitches. So now for rounds 7 till 12, we're just going to do 1 single crochet per stitch, no increase, so just 1 single crochet per stitch, keeping our stitch count at 36 for each round. We're going to do that for round 7, round 8, for round 9, for round 10, for round 11, and for round 12. So for 6 rounds, we're simply going to single crochet in every stitch, keeping our stitch count at 36. And I will show you what it looks like at the end of round 12. Okay, so that's me back at the end of round 12. This is what your piece should be looking like. In here, we're going to take a second as well to stop and to insert our eyes. So we just finished row 12, and I inserted my eyes between row 10 and 11. So you can go up basically 1 row, put your eyes on 1 stitch, and I placed mine about 6 stitches apart. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It's a little hard to see, but with a hook, it's easier to go through the hole. So that's where I place mine. Place yours where you want them to be, as best as how you like them. Make sure to put the backing on so it's nice and secure. And then we'll be continuing on crocheting. Now we're ready for round 13. For round 13, we'll be doing a pattern of 4 single crochets followed by a decrease. In the first stitch, we'll be doing a single crochet. Second stitch, a single crochet. Third stitch, a single crochet. Fourth stitch, a single crochet. And using the next 2 stitches, I'm going to do a decrease. I like to do an invisible decrease, so I'm grabbing the front loop only. This is optional, by the way. And go through loops and then yarn over the through loops on my hook. Again, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, 3. Oh, let me try again. Number 3. This is my 3rd single crochet and 4 single crochet. And using the next 2 stitches and decrease again. So you can do a regular decrease or an invisible decrease. That's totally up to you. So one more time. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, 4 single crochet, and a decrease using the next 2 stitches. Repeat that pattern of 4 single crochets followed by a decrease, so that at the end of this round we'll be going down to a stitch count of 30. Round 14 is another decrease round. This time we'll be doing 3 single crochets followed by a decrease. So 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the second stitch, 1 single crochet in the third stitch, and our decrease using the next 2 stitches. 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and a decrease again using the next 2. Again, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, followed by a decrease. And if you do that 3 more times, at the end of round 14, your stitch count will be down to 24. Round 15 is our last decrease round for the head, and for this one we'll be doing 2 single crochets following by a decrease. So 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then a decrease. Again, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and a decrease. Again, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and a decrease using the next 2 stitches. And if you repeat that pattern around, at the end of round 15, your stitch count will now be at 18 stitches. So before we continue here, we can take a second and stuff the head. Make sure it's nice and stuffed. It's going to be harder to reach it later, so it's best to do it now. Make sure it has a nice shape, keeps a nice shape, and then we'll move on to round 16. So for round 16, we'll be crocheting in the front loops only. So we'll be doing a pattern of 2 single crochets following by an increase. And here you want to find the front loop. So it's the loop that's closest to you. You insert your hook through the middle, grabbing the front loops only. We'll be doing 2 single crochets, so 1, this is my second one, and in the third stitch we'll be doing an increase, 1 and 2, again through the front loop only. 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and in the next it's our increase. So 1 and 2. 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and an increase in the next. 1 and 2. So keep that pattern around, crocheting through the front loops only, 2 single crochets followed by an increase, so that at the end of round 16 our stitch count is back up to 24. For round 17 we'll be back crocheting in the 2 loops, and we'll be doing 3 single crochets followed by an increase. That was my first one, placing my stitch marker. Next stitch is a single crochet, next stitch is a single crochet for 3, and our fourth stitch an increase, 1 and 2. Once again, 1 single crochet in the next, 1 single crochet in the next, 1 single crochet in the next for 3, and in our next stitch an increase, 1 single crochet, going back in the same stitch for another single crochet. One more time, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, followed by an increase. So 1 and 2 in the same stitch. And keep that pattern around, 3 single crochets followed by an increase, and at the end of that round our stitch count will be at 30. Round 18, our pattern that we'll be following is 4 single crochets followed by an increase. I'm trying to find my stitch here because I'm not sure. It's best, best to feel under each of the stitch to find the hole and find our stitch. So 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, and 4 single crochet. That means in our fifth stitch we'll be doing an increase, 1 and 2 in the same stitch. Again, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, 4 single crochet, followed by an increase, 1 and 2. 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and 1 single crochet in the next stitch for 4, so that our next stitch is an increase, 1, going back in the same stitch for 2. If you do that 3 more times at the end of this round, your stitch count will now be at 36 stitches. So for round 19, this is our last increase round for the chick. And we'll be doing 5 single crochets followed by an increase this time. That was 1, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, and our sixth stitch will be our increase, 1 and 2. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an increase in the next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with an increase in the next stitch, 1 and 2. And at the end of this round, our stitch count will be at 42 stitches. Next, for rounds 20 to 26, again we'll be doing 1 single crochet per stitch, no increase, no decrease, just 1 single crochet per stitch, keeping our stitch count at 42 stitches. We'll be doing that for round 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26. So for 7 rounds, be doing 1 single crochet per stitch, keeping your stitch count at 42 stitches. So here I just finished round 26. This is what my chick is looking like. Now we gotta work on closing up the body of the chick. So for round 27, we'll be doing 5 single crochets followed by a decrease. Just did 1, place my stitch marker. This is 2, this is 3, 4, and 5. And we'll be doing a decrease. I'm doing an invisible decrease again using the next 2 stitches. And we repeat that pattern around. So 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 in the next stitch, 1 in the next for 5, and a decrease in the next 2 stitches. Again, yeah, I'm not quite sure where my stitch is, but yeah, there it is. 1 single crochet in the next, 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 1 in the next for 5, followed by a decrease. Do that pattern 3 more times, 5 single crochets followed by a decrease, so that at the end of round 27 our stitch count will be 36 stitches. For round 28 our pattern will be 4 single crochets followed by 1 decrease. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, 4 single crochet, followed by a decrease using the next 2 stitches. And we restart that pattern again. 1, 2, 3, 4, followed by a decrease. Once more. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a decrease. So repeat that again all around until the end of this round. So you have a stitch count of 30 at the end of round 28. So here we're going to stop again for a moment and start stuffing the body before our hole gets too small. We can start stuffing. And then for round 29, we'll be doing 3 single crochets followed by a decrease. So 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 in the next stitch. So that's 3 single crochets followed by a decrease using the next 2 stitches. Again, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, and a decrease. 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 in the next stitch for 3, followed by a decrease. So repeat that around until our stitch count is 24 stitches. For round 30, we'll now be doing 2 single crochets followed by a decrease. So 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch. Oops. Place that stitch marker back. Tell you, sometimes this yarn is slippery, especially when it's just after it's decreased. Sometimes a little bit more space in the stitch. So it was 2 single crochets followed by a decrease. Again, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and a decrease. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and a decrease. Also, this yarn is quite slippery on the table, so I suggest if you have the choice to do it on you, because it is quite slippery on wood. So if you carry on that pattern all around, at the end of round 30, our stitch count will be down to 18 stitches. For round 31, we'll be doing one single crochet followed by a decrease now. So one single crochet, and a decrease, 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 and do that all around till they get to your stitch marker again, so that at the end of this round your stitch count will be down to 12 stitches. Before we do a last round of the body, you want to stop here again, make sure your chick is fully stuffed, has a nice shape, and then we'll be finishing off our last round of the chick by doing decreases all around. So we'll be doing 6 decreases for our last round. So 1 decrease, using the next 2. Sorry, as you can see, it's quite slippery again. It's my second decrease, third, fourth, fifth, and using the last 2 stitches. So tricky to find, so it's out of the camera range. It is quite slippery. I'm slipping all over the place. So my last decrease, and now we're going to cut our yarn. You can leave a little bit of a tail, and we're going to close up the hole completely. So here, if you have one of those very large-eyed needle, you can use one of those to close the hole. I like to use a hook and weave the tail through each of my 6 remaining stitches. I grab only the front loops. I go through the front loop, grab my tail, and do that for each of the 6 stitches. And then I just pull the tail to close the hole. And here to weave in my ends, I'm basically doing the same thing, just grabbing the yarn with my hook, going through the check a couple of times to make sure it's nice and secure. Can be a little bit tricky with this yarn. Sometimes it wants to fray or break. Or get stuck. But yeah, just weave it a couple of times, and once you're satisfied, you can cut your yarn. And I'll show you how to do the wings next. So for our wings, I basically repeated the instruction for the chick for rounds 1 to 5, creating a circle, and then we're going to fold it on itself. And single crochet the 2 sides together. Remove my stitch marker, so you fold it in half and go through 2 stitches at a time, down the wing, all the way down, closing our wings, closing the 2 sides together until the 2 sides are closed. So be sure to make 2 of these, so we have 2 wings, and I will show you at the end how I attach them to the chick's body. Now we're ready to move on to the beak, and for that I went down to a 3mm hook and my light yarn, and to start our beak we're going to start with a magic ring. We're going to do 6 single crochet in the magic ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're gonna pull a tail, close the hole, and move on to round 2. For round 2, we're just gonna do a single crochet in each of the 6 stitch. As you can see, I like to crochet over my tail so my magic ring is nice and secure. I never have any trouble about my magic ring coming undone or anything. This is always what I do. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Once I'm done crocheting over the 6, I'll pull my tail again. Make sure center is nice and closed. And for round 3, we'll be doing 1 single crochet followed by an increase. So in our first stitch, we'll be doing a single crochet. In our second stitch, we'll be doing an increase. So 1, 2, and our third stitch, a single crochet. And then next, an increase, 1 and 2. And the next stitch is a single crochet. And in the last, an increase. So we now have 9 stitches at the end of this round. For round 4, we're going to do a single crochet around, keeping our stitch count at 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And we're now done with a beak. You can cut the yarn, make sure you leave a long tail to sew it to the body. With the magic ring tail, you can kind of stuff it into the beak to kind of slightly stuff your beak as well. And then I will show you how to do the little feet. So for the feet, I'm using my 3mm again, my 3mm hook and my light yarn. I'm going to start with a magic ring, but this time I'll be doing 4 single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So pull your tail. And now for rounds 2 to 4, we're going to do 1 single crochet per stitch, keeping your stitch count at 4. Again, I'm crocheting over my tail. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this was round 2. Do the same again for round 3 and for round 4. Be sure to keep your stitch, because it's so small it has a tendency to curl. So be sure that your stitches are facing the right way, like I'm doing now, curling them back out so you can crochet in your stitches. So yeah, continue that, 4 stitches per round 3 and 4, and then I'll show you what we do next. So this is what it looks like at the end of round 4. We just created a toe. So what we want to do is repeat that 2 more times. So you have 3 toes in total. And on the last toe, be sure to keep your yarn attached. So I weaved in my ends here. You don't have to do it. You can crochet over them next. But just so that for the video it's easier. So now what we want to do is we want to attach everything together. So what we're going to do first, with the toe with the yarn still attached, we're going to do 2 single crochets. So 1 single crochet in the first stitch, go in another stitch for another single crochet. So 2 single crochet in the first toe, then grab a second toe, and then we're going to do insert your hook in any stitch of the second toe, and then we're going to do 2 single crochet again in this toe, then we're going to grab a third toe, insert your hook in any stitch again, and now we're going to crochet around this one. So we're going to do 4 single crochet. So 1, that's 2, that's 3, and that's 4. That's what it looks like so far. We're attaching our toes together. So now, basically back on the second toe, and we should have 2 stitches left on the second toe. So we're going to do 2 single crochet on the second toe, 1 and 2, and then we go back to our first toe, and we should have 2 stitches left as well over there. And we're going to do 2 single crochet, 1 and 2 to finish the round. And we should have 12 stitches in total. And this is our toe attached together. So round 6, we're continuing our feet, and to do that, we'll be doing a single crochet per stitch, keeping your stitch count at 12. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. For our last round, round 7, we'll be doing decreases all around. So in our first 2 stitches, we're doing a decrease. So that's our first decrease. Next 2, second decrease. I'm trying to do an invisible decrease again, just grabbing the front loops. This is optional. You can do a regular decrease if you prefer. That's my third decrease. It's a little bit fiddly when it's so small. This is 4. 5. I have 2 stitches left for my last decrease. And at the end of this round, we'll be done at 6 stitches. This is what our little foot looks like. We can cut our yarn here. Make sure to leave a long tail for sewing again. And we're going to close our hole. So here I'm using a needle and I'm going through each of the front loops. So I'm going through each of the front loops 6 times and pulled close. And it's our little foot finished. Of course, make a second one. So we have 2 feet. And then all we have to do now is assemble, put everything and sew everything to the body of the check. So here I'm placing my beak in between its eyes. You can place them however you like. You can put it higher, closer to the eyes, or lower. It's up to you and what you prefer. And next, I'm going to place my feet. I'll put them a little bit under the body so the toes are a little sticking out. It's quite cute this way on either side. But again, it's up to you wherever you want to put them. And lastly, for the wings, so I got a position that I liked. I forgot that sewing pieces, attaching pieces with this yarn is particularly tricky. Every time I tried, it didn't go so well for me. So here I'm trying to do with the yarn left over from the wings. I suggest weaving in your ends on the wing, and then you'll see next what I do. I use light yarn because it just wants to tend to break and fray, and it's kind of falling apart, as you can see. It's really difficult with that yarn. So I grabbed light yarn in yellow, a color close to my chick color. You're really not going to see it because it's hidden by the fur. And I used the light yarn to secure my wings into place. And that's much better, got much better control. And it will be much more secure as well than using the faux fur yarn. So I did that on the both sides of the wings. until my chick was all done. And that's what it looks like with everything attached. I'd say it's pretty cute and all fluffy. I really like the fluff of this yarn. If you've used that yarn before, please let me know what you did with it. I'd love to know. I have a snowman version very similar to this one as well that I use this yarn with. It's on my channel if you'd like to see it. So yeah, there's our little Easter spring chick all finished. Please don't forget to subscribe. If you liked it, let me know below as well. I'd like to know your thoughts. And I'll see you in the next video real soon. Thank you for watching.